Hello and welcome to a very special video. Goodwill is a resource, a stock, a element in which we exchange on the interpersonal level, on the personal level, and often we think of when it comes to and relates to the operations of a company, as my cats fight in the background. The element of it is that a lot of people don't consider it because we don't really think in those regards. We think of the rights and wrongs, the good times, the bad, the things that we disagree with, and the things that we agree on. And often we neglect to think about, well, sometimes things measure up differently. Now, from a customer standpoint, generally goodwill towards a company has to do with it producing a product that you not only find worth the resources you are going to spend on it, but also generally you have good experiences with. They are well tailored, they're well made. The company isn't trying to preach to you, it's trying to provide you the best product possible. And when it's lost generally in a number of different ways. And there is no better example of this than I think the recent Cracker Barrel, where you have someone who comes in, they start making drastic changes, they claim that everyone loves it. Then, as soon as that's proven wrong, as things crash, because they want to change the product, which people had goodwill towards and were obviously engaging with and seeking out, when you change it and people go, well, that's not what I want, how you generate bad will towards yourself or you lose that goodwill is you tell them that not only are they wrong, but they're bad, and that they don't know what they want and they won't be missed, a la, good old Games Workshop. And we have seen this on so many levels. We've seen it from Star Trek, Star Wars, Disney as a whole, Cracker Barrel being the most recent, Games Workshop. The list goes on and on and on and on. And oftentimes, people react to it because they have a general feeling or a sensation. And that is perfectly fine, but I think one of the things that we should understand is in all of this, it comes down to a number of factors of understanding the very human element to it. And also, let's be perfectly honest, several of these companies, let's just use two of them as examples. Ideological differences. We often have different beliefs and feelings and things like that, but generally, the concept was it didn't matter what those were, you were going to provide the person purchasing your thing the best product. Well, at some point, we allowed people who didn't build the companies, have no idea how to build companies, and effectively had been given keys to the kingdom, the ability to come in and go, I don't care about providing them the best product. They're not pure enough. And there are no better examples of that than Disney and Games Workshop. As I mentioned previously, the You Will Not Be Missed, the fact that Games Workshop's offers have openly and repeatedly stated that there is no canon to Warhammer 40k, and have repeatedly tried to shove their ideological wants in before the desires of a good story or a good product. The same with Disney, where it has become effectively about pushing the wants and desires of the people that work in Disney over the people who purchase Disney things. And you can see that with the cumulative failures and concepts and issues that they have had as a company, and generally the just ill will many people have towards them. Another good example of all of this is Microsoft. The fact that they have tried to over and over and over and over commoditize every element of their operating system and have effectively ignored or treated their own customers like walking wallets. You can see it from their Xbox brand, which they have completely treated like garbage to the point where We now have an ODST in a PlayStation exclusive game with a DLC for it. You have a diminished brand in Xbox because you've allowed the studio to go off on wild tangents as opposed to thinking about the customers and providing them a good product, as opposed with them simply going, we're going to do whatever we want to satisfy our ideological or political or whatever desires over the customer because we don't respect or care about them. We don't care if the company makes money. We don't care how the company is perceived. You cannot simply exchange goodwill forever without the after effects coming back to bite you. In time, all things crumble. Games Workshop is in a position that Disney Corporation found itself 20 years ago, on top of the world, unstoppable, popular, tons of money, and now they're having to try to figure out how to beg fan bases to come back. And it all comes down to this. If you cannot treat your customer with respect, if you cannot provide your customer with a product that they believe is worth their money, which is their time, which they will never ever gain and reclaim, then you are going to fail in the long run. And yes, a lot of these companies are large. Yes, they will take a long time to collapse. But when you consistently produce situations where that goodwill never gets built back up, where you continue to do nothing but create ill will towards you, you will find yourself in a position where success will inevitably evade you, and over time, that will bring companies down. There have been companies that people thought would never ever fail, and they are long dead and gone. So, at the end of all this, this is not to go after one company, one ideology, or any of those. It's to simply say that over the years, we have looked at a corporate structure, a system in which mediocre, unimpressive people who are more interested in their own interest above the customer have been given positions of power and authority and the ability to mismanage and misuse the resources that a company had to build to fulfill their own desires. And over time, help send that company on a path that will inevitably see it diminished, taken apart, or at one point falling apart entirely. Sorry about that. I meant to say collapsing. But this is not something that can be avoided, really. The only way to change that is to actually build up goodwill. And most of these companies do not have the knowledge, the foresight, and the talent to do that anymore. So, I'm sorry if this seemed a bit preachy, but I just wanted to kind of talk about this because I don't see people mention this element of why so many of these companies are now experiencing trouble if they have thrown off and disrespected their customers. But, as they always said where I'm from, giants inevitably fall and you just don't want to be under them. So, have a wonderful day and let me know what you guys think or what experiences you have had that have been involving this topic or ways you think some of these companies could rebuild that. Till then, bye-bye.